What is up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how I finally hit my first $10,000 in profit month at 19 years old after literally trying every single business model imaginable. I finally hit that 10K per month mark where sort of everybody wants to get to when they start trying to make money online and doing different things. So it's a very, very unique business model. I accidentally came across it and literally kind of made it up myself. So I guarantee there's nobody else on YouTube or any other platform talking about this. So I'm going to break it down exactly, completely, step by step, how I set it up, how you can set it up, and how you can make a shit ton of money doing it. All right, so I call this business model the remote contractor method. And before I explain what that actually is and how the business model works, I just want to show you proof that I actually do make the amount of money that I say I do. And I did actually get there in the timeline that I say I did, because a lot of people, let's face it, who make videos on money or anything related to money just lie, whether that is to sell a course or boost their ego or whatever. I don't want to seem like that, and I don't want to come across like that. So I'm going to go ahead and prove it to you. So I have timestamps and everything over here. So you'll see June 2025. What I used to do is I actually used to detail cars. So that's what I did. I'd have customers call me, and they would call me to go out there and clean their car, and I'd spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours making sure that their car was spotless, and they would pay me a couple $100 for it, right? And so I did make decent money, right? Anywhere from like 4 to like maybe 8 grand a month doing it. But obviously I was working in the sun all day, wasn't optimal. Yes, it's okay money. I was probably like 18 to 19 throughout the whole time I was doing this. So still decent money for my age, but I obviously wanted something different, and I knew that I was going to do something different. And it's really funny because, as I said, I basically came up with this business model, and I would have never ever thought of it if I didn't actually do this myself first, detailing cars. So I'll explain kind of how that got me into the business model. But first, just to show you, this was June 2025. And then 2 months later, as you can see, this is me in Miami. Now, again, it's obviously super hard to prove everything exact timeline wise, but you can imagine in Miami, I wasn't detailing cars. And so I pulled up a screenshot of bank transfers between my business partner's bank account and mine, basically splitting the profit. And you'll see between that time around August 13th, so you'll see it starts on August 4th. It kind of cuts off, but you can see there's like $1,300, and then all the way up across the month. Think we did around 15K in profit. We can count it up really quick. So this is 2 grand, 5 grand, seven and a half, 8, 11 plus another 3, 14, and then here's another 3, so around 16 grand, 16 and a half between August 4th and September 4th. Okay, again, this is profit, right? So I basically double to 4x'd my profit within the span of 2 months. And this whole time I was literally just in Miami. Not the whole time, maybe for like a week and a half we were there. But still, just to kind of show, like, obviously I wasn't detailing cars up to 16 grand a month, right? So that's kind of just showing the little timeline switch and how quick this actually escalated for me, and how quick I was able to transition from literally cleaning cars for like 8 hours a day and hating my life to still kind of hating. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, life did get a lot easier and better because I was able to work wherever I wanted to. And obviously that doesn't fix everything, but I'm just saying, it was a very nice switch. And then kind of taking over to the present day. So this is December 2025. The screenshot was a $3,000 profit day, not week, not month, day. I made $3,000 this day doing the exact same business model. And again, here are e-transfers, which is what we use in Canada for payment. There was a couple other payments that came through a payment processor, but still there's over 2.5 grand in here. So you can just verify that yourself. Starts off smaller, got about $100 here, 800, 400. This doesn't count. Another 85, and then this cuts off, but this is a $1,280 transfer. So again, this adds up to around like 2,700. There was another thing on a payment processor for a deposit for something, but again, doesn't matter, really doesn't matter. And then, yeah, again, bring me again to the present day. So I was able to buy my car, my dream car, kind of ish, my dream car. Obviously, we want to aim higher always, but really happy with this car when I bought it. And honestly, I did want it for a really long time. This is a 2025 C8 Corvette, and I bought it in cash at 19 years old, which is honestly, I'm really proud of myself for that. I never thought I'd be able to do it. So, really, really cool thing that I was able to do. Bought one of my dream cars in cash, got the red interior, brand new, and I just took a screenshot of my bank account, like straight up. I know it's nothing crazy, but for my age, I don't know many people who have over 180 grand in savings. So that's my bank account. Yeah, that's kind of the proof. And this is literally a gold mine business. And obviously, I'm gonna say this because I'm advocating for it. But let me basically explain why. Right. First reason is there's literally no competition. Right. Like I said, I literally like came up with this. Obviously, I'm sure somebody else has kind of thought about it and maybe implemented, but I genuinely don't know anybody who's doing this at the scale that I am, who makes videos about it, or even in real life. The only people who are doing this are people who I've technically put on or helped do this, right? So almost literally no competition. Now, the second thing is anyone can do it. There's really no specific skills involved. Obviously, with any business, you're going to have to do some learning. There's a learning curve, there's some skills involved. But generally speaking, very, very low barrier to entry. The skills that you need are super, super quick and easy to learn. It's nothing crazy. You don't need to become like a fucking programmer or something. Really, really easy stuff. Then the third thing is you can actually start this with $0, like genuinely $0. Now, not saying that having some money to invest and sort of get things done and delegate things and make things faster isn't going to help you. But if you really wanted to and you were really committed, you can actually start this with zero upfront cost, not even $10. It's literally zero. And then the last thing is that it is pretty easy to automate as well. And it's easy to scale. So it doesn't mean the business itself is easy, but it is scalable very, very well. And it is automatable very, very well. There's very little things that you cannot delegate and outsource in the future. So, that being said, why would I even teach this for free? So, the number one thing is genuinely there's enough of a market for everybody. It's not like me teaching somebody else is going to affect me. So, I don't really care. And also, I get paid to teach people too. Okay. And I'm not going to hide it, I'm not going to deny it. I know a lot of people try to like hide that. No, 100%. I get paid to teach people too. And it's actually really funny how I realized that I can actually be paid for teaching people. So, to basically give you a sort of quick rundown of the business model, we're basically getting requests for a certain service. So, these are usually going to be some type of home service or any kind of service that's done very commonly, something like landscaping, car detailing, as I was saying, plumbing work, electrical work, cleaning, those kinds of things. And then basically getting a third party business, whether that's just another small business or like an individual contractor, to actually fulfill the requests to do the work. And then we split the profit. So, referring back to how I said the only way I actually found out that this works is because I used to detail cars myself. Um, so, basically, the way I kind of came across this is I used to detail cars, right? I had my own detailing business, and I was getting a ton of leads through a certain way of marketing for completely free. And it was bringing in all of my business. I was getting, a decent amount of customers from a completely free marketing channel that I put almost no effort into. And it got me thinking, like, hey, why would I not just do this more? If it's already getting me this many leads, why don't I find a way to do this more? And most people don't know how they can actually do this multiple times. People think that it's very limited, right? Which is why they don't ever try. But I took the initiative to think outside the box and sort of come up with a way to replicate this in a systemized way. And once I figured it out, it was literally just skyrocketed. Okay. So that's kind of how I came up with the business model. And then the way that I found out people were actually willing to pay a lot of money for this information is through one of these marketing channels. instead of a customer calling, one day I get a call from a very, very big company in my city that offers roofing services. Okay. And the person was the owner of this roofing company. He calls me and he's like, "How are you doing what you're doing?" He basically picked up on what I was doing and he was genuinely shocked. He was like, "How are you doing what you're doing?" And I have all of this documented too. If you check my Instagram, all of this stuff is documented. He sends me an email, he calls me, he's like, "How are you doing this?" And he basically, we meet up, tells me to come to his office, talk business, right? I'm thinking, like, okay, you know, maybe he's going to pay me for some information. And I end up getting 9 grand for 30 minutes of just telling him how to do what I do. And I never spoke to him again. Easiest 9 grand I've ever made in my life. So that's kind of where I realized, okay, well, you know what? This is really valuable information. I'm going to start putting it out there for free. And then I had a bunch of other people messaging me, calling me, asking to pay me to like help them one on one. So I also do that now and I make a little bit of money from that. And I'm not going to lie to you. If you're interested in something like that, I'll leave a thing to get in contact with me in the description. But that's not my goal of this video. I actually just want to show you exactly how it works. Okay. So, kind of explained what the business model is. Now, how does it actually work and how do you do it? So, the first thing that you need to do is find a high demand industry. What this means is you basically need to find a service that a lot of people are searching for and are requesting for in a specific location. So, for example, the first one that I ever mentioned, car detailing. There's more people than you would think that need their car cleaned badly. If you go in pretty much any city, car detailing is searched a lot. There's ways that you can find how many times a certain word is searched for, and car detailing in almost every single city is searched a very, very high amount of times compared to other services. So you want to find ideally a service that is high demand but also high paying, right? So that's kind of the combination that you want to have. Excuse me. High demand and high paying. A lot of people looking to get it done and people willing to pay a lot to get it done. Okay. So some examples of industries are car detailing, cleaning, right? Whether that's cleaning houses, even carpet cleaning, commercial cleaning, those are all good. Pest control is really good. The skilled trades. So this is what I'm currently doing and focused most of my time on, plumbing specifically, but also goes hand in hand with electrical work, HVAC, and then you can go even higher ticket, right? So roofing, water damage restoration, fence installations. You can get pretty niche too in industries where maybe not so many people are searching, but every single job that gets fulfilled, you can make thousands upon thousands of dollars. Now, for me personally, I'm going with plumbing. This is what I do. This is what pretty much all of my time is spent on now. Because number one, I can make thousands and thousands off of jobs. And number two, there is a ton of demand for plumbing in my city. It's one of the most highly searched services pretty much anywhere across the world. But in my city, I live in Toronto, by the way, specifically, plumbing gets a ton of searches. So it just makes sense that you're obviously going to choose the one that's going to make you the most amount of money by getting you the most amount of work and also paying the most per job. Okay, so that's the first thing. You're going to basically establish what industry you want to get into. And again, they're all good. Every single one of these is good. There's others in here that are not on this list that are also good. You just kind of have to weigh out the pros and cons, what you kind of like, and come up with a decision. Most important thing is just not procrastinating it. And if you already have some experience in something, let's say your dad's an electrician, that might be easier for you to get into, right? So things like that will determine what you want to get into. But generally speaking, every single one of these is a really good option. Okay. So now, once you have established this, you need to find a way to get customers. And as I was saying earlier, I found a way to get customers for completely free. And it's honestly so easy, like you genuinely won't believe it. Um, and the problem is nobody knows. Nobody knows that you can actually do this. Now, the reason nobody knows is because technically you're not allowed to do this. But with a little bit of thinking, I was able to find out a way to pretty much go against the rules, bend the rules a little bit. And when I say bend the rules, we're marketing on Google. So I basically bent Google's rules and found a way to market on them and basically have my business show up at the very top of the Google search results almost every single time in almost every single location. Okay, for free again, right? So, as I was saying, Google My Business is the marketing form that we're going to be using, but there's a very, very special sort of twist to it. So, for example, I pulled up a picture here, screenshot. When somebody is searching for a specific service in their city, generally speaking, they're just going to search up for that service and the city name. So, again, Newmarket is a city that's close to me. Right? So, if somebody's in the city of Newmarket and they're looking for a plumber, most likely they are going to search up plumber Newmarket, or they're going to search up plumber near me, right? And for these search results, you'll basically see sponsored businesses. So these are paying money to show up here and a lot of money to show up here. And then you're going to see the organic results. These are people who are showing up at the very top without paying a penny. And as you can see, the first organic result that shows up at the very top is my business profile, right? You can see here it says you manage this business profile. So what this means is that every time somebody's searching for a plumber in Newmarket, they are most likely going to call one of these businesses that show up, right? Nobody's going to click more businesses and then scroll to the very bottom. So all of these searches that are coming from the city for a plumber, a large majority of them are going to go to my business listing. Now, what this business listing does is give them the option to call, to visit my website, and stuff like that. Most of the time, people are just going to call. Okay. And so basically, I found a way to put up a new business listing and basically verify it in every single area of my city. Now, the hard part is not everybody knows how to verify them because you basically need to trick Google into thinking that you own a location that basically operates as a plumbing business and has an office, right? Now, I have over 20 of these locations. Obviously, I do not have 20 offices in Toronto that operate a plumbing company, right? So I basically figured out how to fake it. And basically, this is kind of the setup process for this. You need to do a little bit of market research. So just to sort of find out, as I was saying before, the search volume, if there are a lot of people searching for that specific service in that specific city. But also you want to look at the competition because the higher the competition, the harder it's going to be to show up at the very top, right? If there's a ton of really big businesses, it's going to make it a little bit harder to show up at the very top. So ideally, you want to be going into cities where there is the highest amount of search volume compared to the lowest amount of competition. Okay. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is actually getting this business verified. So when you're making this business profile, it's very simple, by the way. You literally just search up google.business.com, start now, and then it'll take you through the whole process. It's like 5 minutes, right? So you're going to fill in your business name and everything. By the way, the business doesn't actually need to be registered or anything to be listed. You should basically go through the business name, blah, blah, blah. And then in the end, it's going to ask you to verify that the business is real, whether that is through a code. So they're going to send you a code to your phone or your email or whatever. Now, for some industries, you can actually get away with this and you can just send a code to your phone. Super easy. You get verified and it's done, right? But for other industries, it's going to ask for a business video. Okay, so it's going to ask you to basically prove that the business exists on the address that you're listing it as, by basically recording a video of the business and submitting it. Okay, so like I said, the code is really easy to set up and it's going to be really easy to do in those sort of smaller industries, like I said, with car detailing or cleaning. And then things where it requires more sort of like licensing and experience, they're going to want you to do the business video. So depending on that, you're going to find out which verification method you want to do. And both of them are honestly really, really easy to fake if you do a little bit of just sort of of your own thinking. And I have videos on my page on how to fake them and everything. So if you want to go through and check them out, there, everything is there. Literally, I literally say everything on my YouTube channel. So that's the second part. And now once the business is up, you need to get it to the top, right? Because again, like I said, nobody's searching up, no one's clicking more businesses and finding the one at the very bottom and then calling them, right? So the way you're going to do this is through number one, reviews, and number two, search engine optimization. So just to show you kind of here, you'll basically see that the businesses in the top three typically all have a good amount of reviews. So you'll see mine here has 128 5 stars. The second guy's got 237, and the third guy's got 159. I think that's what that says, right? So that also indicates that reviews aren't everything, because mine is the lowest out of these, but showing up higher than all of them. But it is a pretty big factor. Now, are you going to actually have 128 customers to review your business? Of course not. And I guarantee you that this company and this company also didn't have that, right? So there are ways and different methods to get fake reviews, essentially, which I also outline in my videos. Like I said, I literally teach everything in my videos. I don't hold back. So if you want to go through my page, check some of my other videos I have on reviews. But basically, yeah, first things first, you want to get a good amount of reviews so that when people see the page, they think it's trustworthy. They see there's a lot of people who already have been there. It's got the reviews. It's worth calling. Okay. And now the second thing is the search engine optimization. And essentially this is really simple. I made a full 40-minute video covering it. It really doesn't need to be that complicated. But just to sort of give you a super, super quick rundown, again, like I said, there's certain words that people are searching for. So for example, when somebody's searching for a plumber in Newmarket, essentially you want to have your name match up with that so that when somebody actually searches that, Google matches your profile as the most relevant business for this customer and shows you at the top. So someone's searching plumber Newmarket. That's why strategically I have plumber and Newmarket both in my business's title, where this guy just has CDS Plumbing and Delta Plumbers of Newmarket, right? So even this one is pretty decent because it has plumbers and Newmarket, right? But you'll see I outrank them anyways for other factors. Basically, I have a 5 star. He has a 4.9 star. Other SEO things, but generally the title is going to be really important. And then there's also other like specific sub terms that people will search. So, for example, emergency plumber or 24-hour plumber or drain cleaning, right? Those are all sort of things that people might search up when they're looking for a plumber. And you're basically going to have a section. So if you click on this business, you'll be able to see a description and different things that are offered by the business. You're going to add those words into the profile. Again, very, very simple stuff. I have a video that covers all of this. Okay, so once you basically do the things necessary, your page is going to show up at the very top. And out of all the people searching, you're going to get a very, very good majority of those calls and inquiries. And you can literally get your page to show up at the very top within a week, like genuinely within a week. And if you do get your page to show up within a week, you can easily expect 3 to 5 calls every single day just from a single page. And if you're getting 3 to 5 calls for plumbing, where the average job price is around $800, and let's say 3 jobs are being done a day, that's almost $2,500 in revenue every single day that you're bringing in. Now, obviously, you have to pay your plumber and there's other expenses that go into it. So you're not making $2,500 to pocket, but out of that 2,500, it's very realistic that you're going to take home maybe like 800. Okay. And again, if somebody told me that I can be making $800 a day within a week of starting something, I would tell them to shut up and that they're lying. But the math adds up. The math is there and the proof is there too. I have tons of proof showing how much money I actually make. And by no means am I saying it's crazy, but I'm also not claiming that I make $1 million a month, right? So genuinely, it is really, really lucrative. Like you can make a lot of money really, really fast. Okay. But yeah, that's how you get the page to the top. Now, obviously, you need someone to do the jobs because I don't fucking know anything about plumbing, right? Or any one of these industries except for car detailing because I used to do it. So for this, we're going to need to find a contractor or a small business owner who's going to basically fulfill all of our work. Okay. So How you're going to find this person is number one, you could actually just look at other Google business profiles and reach out to them. The second one is Facebook Marketplace. The third one is going to be Nextdoor. So if you're not familiar with Nextdoor, it's basically just like a neighborhood app where people will talk about stuff in their neighborhood, and also people local will promote themselves, right? So a lot of people who do things like cleaning and plumbing and whatever will go on Nextdoor and just basically promote themselves. So you can message those people and hire somebody from there, or find a contractor from there. Now, Craigslist is one. We don't really use that in Canada, but I know a lot of people do. So this is a good one. And then if you have somebody in your own circle, that is honestly a really easy way as well. Like, let's say you're doing cleaning services and you have a cleaning lady already that comes to your house, and you want to just talk to her and say like, hey, I'm starting this. Would you want to take on some extra jobs? And see what she says, right? And that'll honestly be pretty nice, just because you don't really have to worry about things like, and a lot of people have these concerns, whether they are actually real concerns that matter. No, like they're really not. But a lot of people think like, oh, if I hire a plumber and they're going to go and do the job and they're going to take all the money and tell the customer to give them they're going to give the customer a discount and keep all the money so the customer's on their side. Doesn't happen. Like, that doesn't happen. But if you are concerned about things like that, having someone in your own circle is nice. Apart from that, you basically can find a contractor really easily on any one of these platforms. Mind you, if you're using GMB itself, you're gonna have to find somebody at that like very bottom where nobody's calling, just because if you're already telling a big company that you're about to take 40% of their profit, they're gonna tell you to fuck off. Right? So you need to find somebody who isn't getting that much work as it is right now. And typically you're going to have to find out a pricing structure depending on your industry. For car detailing, I always split 50-50. For plumbing, I did 60-40, where my plumber gets 60%. For cleaning, I would usually hire hourly and quote the job as a set price. So I'd quote the job $350, send a cleaner 25 an hour. It takes her 5 hours. I pay her $125, and then I pocket the rest, just as an example. And I've done this across industries. Like I said, right now my main thing is plumbing, but the first thing I ever did was car detailing. Then I moved into cleaning, and now I am in plumbing. Okay. So this is how you're going to find this is where you're going to find a contractor, and how you're actually going to basically get them doing jobs for you is you're going to message them something along these lines, right? So if you want to pause and read, basically I just say, hey, I have a local plumbing company, blah, blah, blah. I get this many calls. Would you be interested? Okay. And then obviously the person's going to say yes most of the time. No one's going to, if they say no, they're just weird. They're probably not going to respond to you if they don't want to. Anyways, most people are going to say yes, especially on these platforms, because the reason they are marketing on these platforms is just because they need to make some money, right? Like they don't get enough jobs, right? They need to fill out their time. So these people are going to respond to you. So you're going to basically contact them, say something like this, and then you're going to chat with them. You're going to do a little quick phone call to sort of validate whether they are worth working with. And if you like them, you can start using them and testing them out. Now, later down the line, you're going to have to do a little bit more stuff. You want to build basically like more of a relationship with this person, because you're going to be sending them a lot of work to do. But generally speaking, you can get going pretty quick just by messaging someone and having a 2-minute phone call with them, and sort of just getting sort of understanding on whether this person is a normal person or just like some fucking weirdo is going to scam you. You can basically tell with a 2-minute phone call, right? And that's basically it for fulfillment. That literally last step is just to get paid. And there's a couple ways you can do this. Number one, you can invoice the customer directly. So this is the safest, right? Let's say your plumber goes to do a job and the job is $1,000. You're going to go on your payment processor or whatever you use to send an invoice, and you're just going to send the invoice to the customer. You're going to fill in their details. They're going to pay the invoice, and you're going to go ahead and pay your plumber. Okay. That's going to be the safest. Now, the other way is you can just let the contractor take the payment. So they're going to be on the site already, and it just makes your life a little bit easier. They're just taking care of everything and dealing with everything. And then you just get to do whatever you want. So it just makes your life easier if you want to let them take payment. But then again, if you're kind of not really seeing the numbers yourself and they're not going through you, you might have some worries and suspicions that they might be, doing something weird, which, fair enough. Most of the time they won't, but it does happen. Okay. And now a mix of both is what I usually do. So I'll have my main plumber who is attached to my payment processing, and he'll basically take the payments, but they go through me. So he does the work, payments still go through me, so I see everything. And it's just a nice dynamic because I'm up to date with everything. He's up to date with everything. We can both see what's going on. And then it's just easy for him because he's already there. And it's easy for me because I don't have to worry about it. So that's a easy mix of both. And sometimes they're going to get handed cash, right? Sometimes customer wants to pay the, your worker directly. That's fine too. So I mix all of that sort of things in. So that's basically how you're going to get paid. Um, by the way, how the customer is actually going to pay you, just tell them to do whatever they want. Okay. Like you're here to make money. If somebody wants to pay with credit card and, you tell them, oh, we only take cash. It's like you just missed out on $100 or $200 or $300 in profit for what? Like for no reason. So be prepared to take payment any type of way. And then in terms of scaling and automating, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is once you get enough calls, you will hire a virtual assistant to answer all of these calls for you. These calls are really, really very simple, right? If somebody calls to get their car cleaned, you basically just tell your VA, hey, these are the prices for car detailing services. Fill the customer in. Here's the script. Here's how you answer the phone. And it's good to go. Really, really simple. So that's going to be your first step. Now, your second step is once you have some money coming in, you can actually just pay for reviews, pay for your website to look better, pay for your SEO, right? If you have money coming in, it's nice to just sort of reinvest it and get all the stuff that you physically spend your time on. Just pay somebody else to do it. And then you completely free up your time and you can sort of work on the important things, which is basically just adding new locations. And also, if you need to find somebody else, like a new plumber or something for a new location, or if you just want to chill in your meantime and use the money that you already made just to make your time, you know, freed up, then totally fine as well. And then after you sort of are paying for stuff and delegating all of that work, you want to get into a new market or a new industry or a new city. So again, basically trying to find a way to get more leads, whether that be by adding your service area to another city or by just completely putting a new service to offer in your, I don't know, in your arsenal. I couldn't really think of a word. That was the best word I could think of. But anyways, adding a new service or adding a new city, that's how you're going to scale. And then, of course, it's going to get tough to manage. So you probably want to get a CRM. You probably want to maybe get a trained VA or train your VA to manage this kind of stuff because it will get confusing when you get, tens or 20 or 30 calls every single day from people who want a service done, and you've got like 10 appointments and a couple different people on the road going to these appointments. So you do want something to manage it and make things easy. But essentially that is literally all it is. It's such a simple business model. And like I said, it was so accidental how I got into this without any help with anybody whatsoever. I literally did 15 grand in profit my second month, as I showed here. Very, very simple. So literally the only issues that you're going to run into are number one, the verification, and then maybe you just don't know exactly how to do all of the search engine optimization stuff, or you don't know exactly how to get a bunch of fake reviews. So all of those things, if you are looking to get things started and you did want some help specifically with that, I do offer a paid sort of service where I'll basically give you all of the information and guide you along the way. If you're interested in something like that, I will leave a link in the description to book a call with me just to have a chat and see if it's worth doing for you. And then apart from that, if you check out my other videos, a lot of that stuff, if you just sort of watch those videos, take some notes, and do a little bit of trial and a little bit of application and use your brain a little, you will figure this stuff out yourself. I try my best to make it very, very easy to figure out these things from what I'm saying and the content I put out there. But yeah, that is essentially it for the business model. Now, if you are planning on doing this, or if you found some sort of interest in this, I would appreciate if you left the video a like and also subscribe to me. At the time of recording, I don't really have that many subscribers. I'm just trying to help people out. Again, like I said, I do make a little bit of money teaching this stuff, but nowhere near as much as I do for my actual business. So if you want to leave me a subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. And if you want to leave the video a like, very much appreciate it as well. But that's going to be basically all. That's a full breakdown of the remote contractor method, how I made 10 grand in literally my second month doing it. So again, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.